Hello, party people, and good morning. So yesterday's math lesson, did not go as well as I'd hoped it would. Um, Kind of a debacle. So I just want to say I'm sorry. I didn't realize that we needed a bigger review than I had anticipated. So today we're going to review decimal numbers. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this light right on my face, but anyway. So let's talk about decimal numbers. So let's start out by just kind of looking at a decimal number. When we're talking about decimal numbers, we're talking about these to the right of the decimal, okay? Anything to the right of the decimal. So how many decimal numbers do I have here? I have 3, right? And what are the place values of those decimals? Well, they are tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. So if I have a problem like this, I'm going to have to, before I solve my answer, or before I solve the problem and get my answer, I'm going to have to count the number of decimal numbers, or to numbers that are to the right of the decimal, to be sure I get my answer correct. Okay, so let's look at this one. Here we have it again. These are the decimal numbers. They are to the right of the decimal. So this one that is directly to the right of the decimal, this is tenths, okay? Then 2 places over are hundredths. And if you have 3 numbers to the right of the decimal, that's thousandths. You don't really need to know 10 thousandths now. That's a middle school. But I mean, it's not going to hurt to know that. And you kind of know probably that after thousandths is 10 thousandths. So let me move my face here. Okay, so if I have a number like this, and I was going to write it in this place value chart, where would it go? So let's start with this first one, which is 3.77. It would go here because the decimal's here. See, there's a decimal between the 3 and the 7, and this would go like this. The way that this is read is 3 and 77 hundredths, because the last number is in the hundredths place. Okay, how many of this total number, 3.77, how many of the numbers are decimal numbers? 2, right? 1, 2, because there are 2 to the right of the decimal. Okay, good. So this one has 2. All right, we're just going to put a 2 there just to remind us that there were 2. Okay, and now let's look at the other one. Now I have 2.8, and I'm not going to read it the correct way yet. I'm just going to write it here, 2.8. Okay, how is this number read? 2 and 8 tenths. And how many of 2 and 8 tenths, how many numbers are decimal numbers, or parts of a whole? Just this one, right? Just the 8. So that's 1 decimal number. Now, when I get my answer, which I can already tell you is like this. Okay, that's going to be my answer when I multiply these. And I'll show you how we get that in just a second. But before I do anything else, I need to say, oh my gosh, how many decimal places is this answer going to have? Well, guys, it's going to have 2 plus 1. 2 plus 1 is what? 3. Very good, very good. All of you can count. So where will the decimal go? Well, if I have 2 numbers here, 1, 2, and I have 1 here, 3, then when I come down here, I have to have 1, 2, 3 numbers to the right of the decimal, which means my decimal point will have to go right here. Okay? Because why? Because up here, I have the 7, the 7, those are to the right of the decimal, and I have an 8 to the right of a decimal. That's 1, 2, 3. So down here, I will have to have 1, 2, 3, or my answer will not be correct. Got it? Okay, so let's break it down a little bit to look at how this problem would play out. So let me move my face here. So the original problem was 3 77/100, that decimal there, times 2 8/10. Okay, so now I'm going to set it up in my partial products grid here. Okay, is this 3 or is this 300? It's 3. It's not 300, it's just 3, right? And this is what? Is it 7? It's not a whole 7, right? It's 7/10. So it has a decimal there, which means that this one over here is 700. Did I say this one was 700? Because this is 7/10. This one is 700. Okay, now let's do this over here. Is this 20? Is this 200? What is this? This is 2. 2. And what is this? 8/10. So I have to have a decimal, and I'm going to put an 8. Now, when I multiply them, for the meantime, I just kind of pretend there's no decimal there, okay? Let's take a look. What's 3 times 2? That's 6. That's easy. This 2 times 7, that's 14. Oh, I'm not going to put the decimal yet. I'm not going to put the decimal yet because we're going to talk about that. Okay, 2 times 0.7, that's also 14. Okay. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 7 is 56. 8 times 7 is 56. Okay, now I have my multiplication done. Now I need to deal with my decimals. Okay, so does the, let me get a different color here. Does the 3 or the 2 have any decimal numbers or parts of a whole? No, there's none. So I don't have to put a decimal here. But this 3 does not have a decimal, but this 8 does. So this box right here is going to have a decimal. How many decimal places are to the right of the 8? Just one. So I just have to have one here, which means the decimal will go here because I have one number to the right of the decimal here and one number to the right of the decimal here. Okay, good. All right, let's do the next one. So we're going to do this box right here, okay? I have 7 on the top, and it has 1 decimal place. And then to the side, I have 2, 0 decimal places. So how many numbers will have to be to the right of the decimal here? Just one. Just one. So it goes right there. Because there's 1 here, I need 1 here. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky, okay? This number right here has 1 decimal place. This number right here has 1 decimal place. So how many decimal places will have to be in this answer? I have to have the 1 for this one, and I have to have the 1 for this one, because I'm multiplying these two to get 56. Therefore, my answer must have 2 decimal places, because this one has 1 and this one has 1. So that means 1, 2 decimal places. The decimal will go here. Okay, it's starting to make sense, right? Okay, I knew you'd get it. Okay, last row and last column. I'm trying to get a different color. Okay, this box right here. I have 2 decimal places up here. And I have 1 decimal place over here. So this box right here, I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong box. This box right here has to have 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So where will I put it? Well, I have 1, 2 numbers. The third number will have to go here in front. And that will have to be a decimal in front of that. That was crazy, right? Okay, let's do this last one. This box right here, 14. I have up here 1, 2 decimal numbers, and over here I have none. I have none. So this one needs 2. So I will have 1, 2 decimal numbers, and the decimal will go right here. Not too bad, right? Okay, now it's time to add them up. I do anything with the adding, I need to make sure all of my decimals are in a row like this because I'm about to add them up. And when you add them up, the decimals all have to be in a row. Now, this 6 over here, does it have a decimal? Yeah, it has an invisible decimal right here because 6 is the same as $6.00. I could put zeros all day here if I wanted to. I could go for the rest of my life putting zeros because 6 is the same as 6.0, right? Yes, it is, Miss Lee. Thank you so much for explaining that to us. Hey guys, no problem. That's what I'm here for. Okay. So I got my 6. Now this one, 2 and 4/10. The decimal is between the 2 and the 4. Therefore, I have to put it up here with the decimal between the 2 and the 4. All right, I've done this box. I've done this box. Now let's do this box. 1 and 4/10. That's 1, and the decimal's between the 1 and the 4, 4/10. Bam. Good. Okay, this one, 0 and 56/100. I could just put a 5 and a 6 here. Could I put a 0 here? Yes, absolutely. Isn't 56 cents the same as $0.56? Yes, it is. Notice how I'm keeping my numbers in line. Okay, we did this one, we did this one. Now the last 2. Where's the decimal here? It's to the left of the 1. So here, I have to make it to the left of the 1. Okay, done. And this one finally is 0.056. So that has to be 0.056. Now, if you're wondering, well, what do I do about this 6? Guys, remember, you could do zeros all day. If you want to make them all the same size, that's fine. Just put zeros in there. Okay, now I have all of these numbers in a row, and I'm going to add them up. And what do I get? I get 6. Okay, now I have 6 plus 4. What is that? 10 plus 5, 15. Put my 5 here. Up here, I'm going to put a plus 1. Okay, here we go. 4 plus 4 is 8. Plus this 1 is 9. Plus this 1 is 10. Plus that 5 is 5. Now, what do I put here? I put the decimal. Because look, all of these decimals have to stay in a row. You have to keep those decimals in a line, just like if you're stacking up Oreos, they have to be perfectly on top of each other or it will collapse. And finally, I need to put that 1 up here. Okay, 6 plus 2, that's 8, plus 1, that's 9, plus 1, that's 10. And we go back to this problem right here. Remember, there were 2 plus 1 decimal places. And look over here. I have 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So